Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Event and Log Management for Optimized Security webcast. Presenting today is Dave Wagner and Ashley Adams.
Thank you very much, Tim. I'll just do a quick introduction of myself. I'll hand over to Ashley to do the same, and then we'll get into our agenda today. I'm Dave Wagner. I'm a senior manager here in our product marketing organization, working on our log management tools, application management, portfolio products. I've been doing this a very long time, and that's why I'll blip off my picture to save you having to get some eye bleach. So over to you, Ashley.
Thanks, Dave. My name is Ashley Adams. I have been pretty much working exclusively in cybersecurity for the past 9 years or so. Happy to be a part of SolarWinds and have held positions both over in France and in Austin. So excited to bring a security angle to the webcast today.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley. So our agenda today is really going to talk about log management at or with SolarWinds solutions. We'll cover Log Analyzer, we'll cover Logley, and we'll cover Security Event Manager. Perhaps interestingly enough, we'll talk about what we call connected use cases. So these are use cases when you'd want to use, more than one of these products because of some of the unique differences and use cases that they each deliver in the area of event and performance management and security management with logs. And then at the end, we'll leave time for Q&A. So when and as you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and send them to host and presenters. And that way we can get to them at the end. So without further ado, let's get in here. So first, let's set the stage within the broader SolarWinds portfolio. As many of you know, we have a rich portfolio of IT operations management solutions that really, if you think about it, manage and optimize performance and availability for all things related to IT and for whoever is managing IT's performance and wherever they sit, whether on-prem, hybrid, or full cloud. There are several pillars to this. There are families, if you will, of products around application performance, database performance, infrastructure, and network. Spanning all of them with parallel use cases is everything associated with security, and overarching everything is obviously service management, trouble ticketing, and problem resolution processes and solutions. So at a high level, that's the totality of the SolarWinds portfolio. As many of you know, we've been doing this for several decades now, and we have a very rich portfolio of high value, quick time to value, and easy to use solutions. So log management in SolarWinds, the key concept here is almost everything in IT, whether it's an application, infrastructure, or what have you, throws a log. Most logs are highly visible issues are related to things like performance, when things get slow or down. The concept of log management is all about speeding your time to resolution when events and issues occur by understanding them in context across the entire stack. And to do that for log management at SolarWinds, we really have two main products. We have some other ones that fit into some other niches, but from two perspectives. We have Logley, which is our SaaS-based log management analytics solution, which is really designed to gather logs from across the entirety of the infrastructure and application stack in the context of solving for application performance and availability problems. And then we have more of an infrastructure management focus. We have Log Analyzer, which is our on-premises solution, Orion platform product. And we'll talk about both of those, but I wanted to set that stage for you. Ashley, could you speak just a little bit about the security pillar before we go into that?
Absolutely. So as Dave said, the security pillar there, as you saw, kind of encompasses all of the infrastructure and environment, but what a security event manager does is it's going to help you with that incident and event detection from a security perspective. So as you can see, we have a pillar here set up. We also have some tools around access rights and a patch management and also a account prevention takeover tool. But today we will be focusing on our security event manager, which is a typical SIM tool.
Excellent. Thanks, Ashley. So let's dive into the meat of the agenda. I'll talk first about Log Analyzer, then I'll cover Logley, then we'll do SIM and the connected use cases. So Log Analyzer is our Orion platform-based solution to monitor the performance of your environment using log data from syslog, SNMP traps, or brand new in a recent release earlier this summer, Windows event logs, so Windows applications and events. It's as any log search and analysis tool would be. It is designed to help you visualize that log data, to help you identify hotspots of activity. Because it's Orion platform integrated, you can do that in context with the data that you're getting from your other SolarWinds solutions, like, for example, SAM or NPM or VMan. Like all log management solutions, it allows you to filter and tag these events to make finding them and finding these things and finding the relevant issues and incidents easier and more speedy. The business case here for classic SolarWinds customers using one or more of our solutions is really, how do I gain insight into performance across the stack? So maybe you're you're a SAM customer and you want to understand, or an NPM customer, and you want to understand how the elements of what that is monitoring relate to your events and logs. And so that's where Log Analyzer really brings that data in and allows you to, if you will, join it to the other information sources you have about performance and availability across your environment to get that richer context in one place. And again, that comes from the Orion platform integration. The benefits of Log Analyzer are pretty straightforward. First and foremost, it's about allowing you to aggregate your logs across disparate sources, different pieces of infrastructure and or things like Windows applications, network devices, and the like, to a central place where they can be made sense of in one place. It's got an integrated search engine to help you quickly find problems and highlight the specific events using out-of-the-box filters to help more quickly identify what's going on. It then allows you to then visualize that into your Orion platform console so that you can then correlate in the same sort of dashboards and reports that you're using with other Orion platform products what's going on. In fact, in almost every case, a customer of Log Analyzer is also a customer or one or more other SolarWinds Orion platform products. Log Analyzer can also allow you to forward and export those events to other tools. So if you want to have other teams use other data analytic tools for other types of analytics, that is also possible. On to Logley. So Logley is a SaaS-based solution to deliver simple, powerful, and highly scalable log management. Unlike Log Analyzer, it really can take data from just about anything, just about anywhere. Our lawyers don't let us say all, but we do have a saying: if it logs, it can log to Logley. And so this is true whether it's on-prem, hybrid, or in the cloud, servers, hosts, containers, network devices, all the relevant infrastructure log sources that would be needed to understand your infrastructure full stack. It also can ingest application logs, so logs from applications written in a variety of modern languages, services, microservices, Kubernetes, cloud databases, Amazon, places like that, modern applications and services. So it can ingest it all into one place. We've got over 60 out-of-the-box modules, and it's pretty straightforward to integrate logs from just about anywhere. The reason people use Logley is first and foremost to optimize availability by speeding that mean time to repair process by getting all that data into one place. It allows for both monitoring as well as proactive monitoring with exception notifications to really identify what's critical and what's not, so you can prioritize remediation. It's as a SaaS product, it's super fast in terms of quick time to value with a very simple setup and import of your logs and a very minimal learning curve. And then a key selling point for Logley, and a reason why lots of our larger customers use it, is because it's a SaaS solution that's architected to scale. It can efficiently scale both up and down, and we have pricing plans that allow you to do that based on changing business needs and demands, which are typically much more elastic for people who are in hybrid and full-on cloud environments than they are when they're in on-prem environments. Key features and use cases, very simple and very similar, if you will, to Log Analyzers. It's looking at all those disparate logs across the stack. It's doing analytics on them to help you understand what behaviors are, and it's allowing for rapid access to the data using some key features. I'll talk about Dynamic Field Explorer in just a moment. But the goal here is really bringing in all the data, automatically index and parse it while it's being ingested so it's ready to be used in a coherent fashion before you even perform your first search query. And that enables a lot of value for our customers. From a full stack capability, it allows interactive and rapid data search across very large data sets. You can do a full text searches, fields, Boolean searches, without having to learn proprietary query languages like some other solutions on the market require. We have a feature called surround search. So once you've found a log entry or entries of interest, you can immediately, with one button, drill down across all your log sources to the immediate log entries that surround that event, both right before it and right after it, so you can understand impacts across disparate sources. It had come series of out-of-the-box dashboards and analytics that are then fully customizable as well for our end users so that they can share information across their organization and be more productive contextually with the broader business. I mentioned before the dynamic field explorer. Because we're automatically indexing, parsing, and tagging data during data ingestions, users don't have to be data domain experts. You can literally come up and running, and before your first query in Logley, go in and say, hey, I want to look at my Apache, any logs that relate to Apache and Apache status, and a given status of, oh, let's say who's throwing exception values of 404s or exception 500s, and just with a couple of click drags through the interface, immediately get to those things. You don't need to necessarily be a data domain expert. This is super powerful when you're looking at application logs and other things like that, because it speeds the ability to get to data without having to construct manual queries. So with that, Astrid, you could talk a little bit about SEM.
Absolutely. So as I mentioned before, our SolarWinds Security Event Manager tool is a traditional SIM tool. Our purpose of this tool is to really put it in the hands of all levels of business, whether it's enterprise or small or medium. If we go to the next slide, we kind of look at what it looks like there and what our dashboard looks like. The purpose of what we do with SEM is make security easy. Much like a lot of our SolarWinds tools, what we try to do is put it in the hands of anybody, whether they're an IT security specialist or even somebody on the network system admin side. We believe that you can run this tool and you see value from it pretty instantly. So its main purpose, of course, is to help detect any threats with less manual effort. So it's a centralized log collection and normalization and correlation of those threat intelligence feeds. SEM has built into it some threat intelligence feeds that are known IP addresses that are potentially malicious users out there, so you can be alerted on that. Also, how are you going to respond to those threats faster? So being able to deploy this tool, it comes with hundreds of already pre-built and easy to use filters and rules set up. So you can be looking at different kinds of use cases, for example, like login failures. Maybe some of you are familiar with the concept of zero trust. That's quite common within the security framework these days, which is really mostly about protecting your environment from both the inside and outside. So you may have users, especially now in the remote workforce that lots of us find ourselves in due to COVID, or even just the way IT has evolved over time. You're looking at people who are distributed across different networks. So if you've got people who are, experiencing login failures, something looks funny, how can you respond to that? SEM is going to help you to do that. On top of that, we also offer a lot of out-of-the-box filters on reporting for compliance. So many regulations are in play for HIPAA within the healthcare world, PCI DSS within the banking and finance institutions, also GDPR, which in Europe. SEM is going to help you to be compliance ready by being able to give you some of those audit ready reporting capabilities. As well as utilizing features like our file integrity monitor and USB detection. So if somebody is in your system and they are messing around with a file that should not be, it's going to be able to alert you on to any changes on those key files and be able to give you the ability to virtually block that. Same with USB Defender. So if somebody plugs in a USB device that is unauthorized, immediate real-time threat detection and giving the IT administrator or whoever's running the tool the ability to block that so that you can make sure that you're not hacked or susceptible to a breach. You can kind of see in the dashboard here, it's quite colorful. What we've tried to do there is give you customization So any of these widgets are completely customizable to your liking. You can move them up, around, change them from bar graphs to donut, pies, whatever is most interesting to you. We try to, put it in the hands of the person who's using it and again, see that value right away. On the next slide, we just I want to talk about a couple of the things that we have improved over the last releases. Again, in this HTML5 dashboard, we've moved over the Analyze Historical Data feature to our event pane, which is great. Again, all of this is in one single pane of glass, so you can kind of see what's happening across your environment quite easily. And to be able to analyze data from the past, you can kind of see here on this histogram, that's a histogram that's able to be dragged and dropped across, so you can zoom in on a specific time frame if you're looking to investigate maybe an event that came into your infrastructure. We've also added some great features like creating connector profiles, being able to create local SUN user accounts, and then also viewing the oldest stored event. These are all features that we listen to our customers from. So if any of you guys are active on our SWAT community, that's the place where you can go in, tell us what you like, what you dislike, and we're constantly evolving the tool to fit your needs. So creating a login banner as well, just giving users a place to leave a message for who's ever logging into that tool. And I think we'll go to the next slide. Something great about SIEM that really differentiates us from the market is we are specifically licensed on the number of nodes, period. Lots of SIEM tools out in the market are priced based on their log volume, which can make it very unpredictable. Pricing is hard to kind of guesstimate because let's say that you have a normalized environment, well, that's lovely, but if you do have a data breach or a large threat detection, that could throw your log volume up and you potentially will be charged for that. SIEM is never going to come across that way. We are licensed on number of nodes, and that's it. In terms of how we're priced in general, we are offering both perpetual and subscription pricing now. So in case you're interested in, budgeting for something, this is going to help you to look at a lower entry point of cost. But we're priced pretty competitively in general. And I think with that, we are going to talk about a few connected use cases. So I'll hand it back to Dave.
Thanks, Ashley. A connected use case I'll talk about is Logley and Log Analyzer. We get asked about this all the time. So that's why we came up with connected use cases to really help people understand the distinctions between them. So Logley and Log Analyzer, if you flash back to what I talked about a few moments ago, they're both comprehensive log management and analytics solutions. So how do you decide which one to use, which are useful for what? Okay, at a high level, Log Analyzer is our Orion platform integrated solution. So it is bringing in and aggregating those logs in the context of your broader investment in Orion platform solutions at SolarWinds, whether it be, as I mentioned before, NPM or SAM or vMan or others. It allows you to now bring events from logs into the context of the other data that those tools provide. Again, to do a more effective and faster troubleshooting, which is what you do log management for. Logley is SaaS-based and highly scalable as a multi-source log-based analytics solution. So cutting to the chase, when customers choose to use and use Log Analyzer, first and foremost, any customers that have or are standardizing on the Orion platform for unified dashboarding, alerting, and monitoring, Log Analyzer is a no-brainer. Some additional cases, if you require logs directly from VMware or directly from MTTR, that would be a Log Analyzer use case. If you require an on-premises solution, obviously that's Log Analyzer for you. Log Analyzer's scalability is up to about 1,000 events per second per instance, and it can be scaled out. And you could go with Log Analyzer when, for example, you don't really have a need for cloud applications, microservices, cloud databases, or cloud infrastructure log monitoring and management. Those are the cases when Log Analyzer is the smart choice. Logley. So first and foremost, if you're desiring a SaaS-based solution for both your modern and legacy application environment, Logley is the obvious first choice. If you require logs from custom applications in languages like Java or Ruby, I won't read the list here, there's quite a few, so-called modern applications. If you require logs from cloud infrastructure and services sources, and if you require an integrated view across your custom application stack, all the way from the application code down into, for example, cloud data stores and all the infrastructure in between. And then finally, if you have extremely high scalability requirements from a log ingest capability, lots of events per second, we have multiple customers that are well over 100,000 events per second going into Logley. So Logley is, because of its SaaS implementation, it's a much more highly scalable solution. We also have a lot of customers that are using upon both. They continue to build upon their existing Orion platform implementation, but now need to add coverage for what Logley is adding. So, for example, they have existing need for log management for their VMware or SNMP environments, but they also need all those applications that I mentioned before and the infrastructure together to extend that log ingestion to include cloud services, infrastructure, and the like. So with that, Ashley, if you could quickly describe some of the distinctions with SEM and SEM use cases.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of like what Dave said, went over Logley there. I think what SEM can add to a use case where somebody might want to be having that SaaS-based solution and looking into the performance of all their cloud-based logs that are coming in, what SEM can do to kind of counteract that environment is, again, just give you that added security level. So making sure that your environment is as secure as possible. So again, it would kind of be giving you more of a hybrid approach where you are looking at cloud-based solutions and then SEM for more of your other environment that's on-prem, and helping you to just monitor that infrastructure with those pre-built rules and filters, and being able to have that real-time alerting, which in the end is just going to give you that added level of security and compliance. I think with that, we are going to launch a poll question for you guys. So if you wouldn't mind just checking that out when it pops up and giving us your answers. There we go. So if anybody would like a demo of the following products, you can answer there, or pricing. Obviously, in this 30-minute session, it's a little short for us to do a demo, but we are more than happy to set you up with either Dave or myself or one of our solution engineers. We're happy to be there for you guys. And I think we can do a Q&A for a couple minutes if you guys have any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've had a couple of questions coming in over Q&A, and some of the ones that make sense to answer directly to everyone. The first one that I've got here is, if I have wildly varying log volumes, and Ashley, you spoke about the unpredictability of log volumes in critical security use cases. How does Logley handle that? And they use the word fairly here. And so I'll point out Logley has a plan. As part of all Logley plans, we have something we call peak overage protection. So you're allowed to exceed your plan volume by up to 100% or 50 gigabytes, whichever's less, for up to any 3 days in any month. And so that gives you some pricing protection against wildly varying on a sporadic basis use volume.
Cool. I think there's one here about SEM and how it's deployed. So SEM is an on-premise virtual appliance. It is, it's a virtual appliance that we send to you guys, but it can be deployed in the cloud. So yes, if you are interested, we can deploy it at Azure and AWS.
Got a log analyzer one here. If I need more than 1,000 EPS for log analyzer, how specifically can I address this? We've got one of our product managers here, James Barnes. James, could you maybe take a stab at that one, please?
Sure thing, David. I'm sorry. I had a minor glitch there. Could you repeat the question for me?
Sure. If I need more than 1,000 events per second for Log Analyzer, how can I address this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of things you can do there. The first and foremost would be it is possible to run multiple instances. So, there may be some sort of logical groupings that you could create where, one instance of Log Analyzer takes in, a certain subset of devices and another one takes in the others. The other thing is to keep in mind that some of those, the events per second is not hard set in stone. The 1,000 events per second is kind of a guideline, but it does have a little bit of flexibility. So there is some dependence on, what kind of hardware you may be running underneath the instance that you're sending those logs to. There's a little bit of, flexibility in terms of it can take some bursts above that 1,000 events per second. So it isn't locked in stone. And maybe, what I might suggest if you're kind of in that ballpark where you might be on the edge, you may just want to, speak with a sales rep and have them kind of connect you with a sales engineer who can kind of assess your environment with you and kind of vet that out, whether or not you're kind of able to fit comfortably in, or if, multiple instances is more the thing, or, like we've kind of talked about before, if it's wildly above, your environment is wildly above that mark, maybe it's more appropriate to look at something like Logley that has a much higher EPS rating.
Thanks, James. We've got a question here saying, how long can he wait? I think what we'll do is we'll answer that across the products because there are going to be different use cases there. So for Logley, we have variable and custom retention plans available on our enterprise plan. Most customers don't typically keep it around much longer than a year. That said, within Logley, you also have the ability to export the data to an Amazon S3 archive where you can keep it basically indefinitely. So that's for Logley. James, you want to take a stab at Log Analyzer, and then we'll go over to Ashley for SEM?
Yeah, it's a similar story. There's some configuration there. Obviously, we have some defaults in place to kind of get the ball rolling and that are kind of geared towards optimizing performance of, when you go into the UI, we, have some defaults that are optimized for that, but you can stretch that out. Again, there's a place where, depending on your environment, you may need, longer or less. And again, that's something that you can either find kind of through using the product in time and tuning, or again, a sales engineer would be a good option to kind of help you size that out.
Okay, thank you. Ashley, you want to speak to SEM in terms of data retention?
Yes, except for that I'm not totally positive on the answer there. So whoever asked that, if you're interested, we've got your contact info and I can certainly get back with you. So.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Ashley. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? We have a question. How is Logley priced? Apparently that's prompted by your talking about how SM was priced. So Logley is priced like most typical general purpose cloud SaaS-based log aggregation and management solutions. It is priced on a combination of data ingest volume and data retention, and we have a set of flexible plans available to do that. And as I mentioned earlier, with the log volume variance, we do have protections built into those plans. So if it is varying, we're not going to show up on your doorstep like, hey, you're 3 gigabytes over on Tuesday, you owe us X. It doesn't work that way. We work very flexibly with our customers, both on data volume and data retention, to make it a very cost-effective solution and highly competitive from a price standpoint. And I think we are at the bottom of the hour. So, Tim, can we turn it over to you to close us out and just actually, I can do that. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. If you have any questions at any time, please feel free to reach out to us. And we're really thankful that you spent your time with us today. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, everybody.